Here are 20 of the most commonly missed ServSafe Food Protection Manager questions. Can you get them right? These are the trickiest, most confused rules, and the numbers people most often misremember. Read each question, then answer before the 5-second timer runs out, and then see why. This is exactly how you practice on PrepPass.org. Let's begin. Question 1. A manager reheats a pan of leftover rice and beans that was properly cooled. To what internal temperature must it be reheated, and within what time? A. 145 degrees Fahrenheit within 4 hours. B. 155 degrees Fahrenheit within 2 hours. C. 135 degrees Fahrenheit within 2 hours. D. 165 degrees Fahrenheit within 2 hours. The correct answer is D. TCS food reheated for hot holding must reach 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds within 2 hours. Reaching only 135 degrees Fahrenheit, 145 degrees Fahrenheit, or 155 degrees Fahrenheit would not destroy pathogens that may have grown, and taking longer than 2 hours keeps food in the danger zone too long. Question 2. A cook holds a pot of chicken tortilla soup on the steam table. What is the minimum hot holding temperature required? A. 135 degrees Fahrenheit. B. 125 degrees Fahrenheit. C. 145 degrees Fahrenheit. D. 155 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is A. Hot TCS food must be held at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or above. 125 degrees Fahrenheit is inside the danger zone and unsafe. 145 degrees Fahrenheit and 155 degrees Fahrenheit are cooking temperatures for certain foods, not the minimum hot holding requirement. Question 3. What is the minimum internal cooking temperature and hold time for chicken, turkey, and other poultry? A. 155 degrees Fahrenheit for 17 seconds. B. 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. C. 145 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. D. 175 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 seconds. The correct answer is B. Poultry must be cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds because it commonly carries Salmonella and Campylobacter. 155 degrees Fahrenheit is for ground meat, 145 degrees Fahrenheit is for whole cuts and seafood, and 175 degrees Fahrenheit is not a food code standard. Question 4. A cook at a taqueria assembles cold chicken tacos, placing shredded chicken, cilantro, and onion directly onto tortillas that will be served without further cooking. How should the cook handle this ready-to-eat food? A. With clean bare hands, as long as they washed recently. B. By first dipping bare hands in sanitizer. C. Using gloves, tongs, deli tissue, or other utensils to avoid bare hand contact. D. Bare hands are acceptable because the food is cold. The correct answer is C. Food handlers may not touch ready-to-eat food with their bare hands. They must use suitable utensils such as single-use gloves, tongs, spatulas, or deli tissue. Even clean, recently washed hands can transfer pathogens like norovirus and Staphylococcus aureus. Question 5. A prep cook finishes cutting raw chicken and is about to start chopping lettuce for salads. What must the cook do first? A. Change aprons only. B. Wash hands, because hands must be washed after handling raw meat and before working with other food. C. Rinse hands with water only. D. Spray hands with sanitizer and continue. The correct answer is B. Hands must be washed after handling raw meat, poultry, or fish and before switching to ready-to-eat foods, to prevent cross-contamination with pathogens like Salmonella. Question 6. The FDA Food Code requires that most ready-to-eat foods be handled without bare hand contact. This mainly reduces the risk of A. Physical contamination from glass, B. Biological contamination from pathogens on hands, C. Allergen cross-contact only, D. Chemical contamination from sanitizer. The correct answer is B. Handling ready-to-eat food with gloves, tongs, or other utensils instead of bare hands reduces biological contamination from pathogens like norovirus, hepatitis A, Shigella, and staph carried on hands. Question 7. In a walk-in cooler, how should raw foods be arranged on shelves to prevent cross-contamination, from top to bottom? A. Raw chicken on top, ready-to-eat food on the bottom. B. Ready-to-eat food on top, then foods by increasing cooking temperature, with raw poultry on the bottom. C. All raw meats stored together on the top shelf. D. Order does not matter if everything is covered. The correct answer is B. Foods should be stored top to bottom in order of increasing required cooking temperature. Ready-to-eat foods on top, then whole seafood/steaks, 145 degrees Fahrenheit, then ground meat, 155 degrees Fahrenheit, with raw poultry, 165 degrees Fahrenheit, on the bottom. Question 8. The big 9 major food allergens recognized in the United States include milk, eggs, fish, crustacean shellfish, tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, soybeans, and which newest addition? A. Corn, B. Garlic, C. Sesame, D. Mustard. The correct answer is C. Sesame became the 9th major allergen in the U.S. under the FASTER Act, joining milk, eggs, fish, crustacean shellfish, tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, and soybeans. Corn, garlic, and mustard are not among the U.S. Big 9. Managers must be able to identify all 9 on their menus. Question 9. A truck delivers raw ground beef that measures 50 degrees Fahrenheit when checked with a calibrated thermometer. What should the manager do? A. Reject it, because cold TCS food must be received at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below and 50 degrees Fahrenheit is in the danger zone. B. Accept it and cool it down in the walk-in. C. Accept it if it still looks red. D. Accept it but use it within 2 hours. The correct answer is A. Raw ground beef at 50 degrees Fahrenheit must be rejected because cold TCS food must be received at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below, and 50 degrees Fahrenheit is well inside the temperature danger zone, indicating time temperature abuse in transit. Question 10. Hot TCS food, such as a delivery of hot soup from a commissary, must be received at what minimum temperature? A. 125 degrees Fahrenheit. B. 130 degrees Fahrenheit. C. 135 degrees Fahrenheit or above. D. 110 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is C. Hot TCS food must be received at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or above to stay out of the temperature danger zone. Receiving at 125 degrees Fahrenheit, 130 degrees Fahrenheit, or 110 degrees Fahrenheit means the food has cooled into the danger zone where pathogens can grow, and it should be rejected. The receiving standard mirrors the hot holding minimum of 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Question 11. A delivery of fresh chicken arrives. At what maximum internal temperature should cold TCS food like raw chicken be received? A. 45 degrees Fahrenheit or below. B. 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below. C. 50 degrees Fahrenheit or below. D. 60 degrees Fahrenheit or below. The correct answer is B. Cold TCS food such as raw chicken must be received at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below, so it enters the operation out of the danger zone. Receiving at 45 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or 60 degrees Fahrenheit means the food has been time temperature abused and should be rejected. Question 12. Yesterday's beef stew was cooled correctly and stored at 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Today the kitchen wants to put it on the steam table for lunch. What must happen first? A. Warm it on the steam table until it reaches 135 degrees Fahrenheit. B. Reheat it to 165 degrees Fahrenheit within 2 hours, then place it in hot holding. C. Reheat it to 145 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds, then place it in hot holding. D. Serve it cold, because cooked food may not be reheated. The correct answer is B. Food that was cooked, cooled, and will be hot-held must be reheated to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and the reheating must be completed within 2 hours. Reheating quickly through the danger zone destroys any pathogens that may have grown during cooling and storage. Question 13. Why should a manager train staff to prep chicken salad in small batches instead of pulling all the ingredients out at once? A. Small batches limit the time any portion of the food spends in the temperature danger zone during prep. B. Small batches reduce the amount of dishwashing needed at the end of the shift. C. Small batches make portion sizes more consistent for customers. D. Small batches prevent cross-contact with allergens on the prep table. The correct answer is A. Working in small batches means only the food being actively prepped is out of refrigeration, while the rest stays at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. This minimizes the total time each portion spends in the danger zone between 41 degrees Fahrenheit and 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Question 14. A manager is quizzing the line cooks. Which of these menu items has the highest minimum internal cooking temperature? A. Grilled ribeye steak. B. Pan-seared halibut. C. Bacon-wrapped stuffed shrimp. D. Ground lamb kebab. The correct answer is C. Stuffed foods, including stuffed shrimp, must be cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds, the highest standard on this list. The steak and halibut require 145 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds, and the ground lamb requires 155 degrees Fahrenheit for 17 seconds. Question 15. What is the minimum internal temperature for TCS food held on a steam table for service? A. 135 degrees Fahrenheit. B. 145 degrees Fahrenheit. C. 155 degrees Fahrenheit. D. 165 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is A. Hot TCS food must be held at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Holding above this temperature keeps the food out of the danger zone, where pathogens that survived cooking or were reintroduced could multiply. Question 16. A manager sets the policy for checking hot-held food temperatures. If temperatures are checked only every 4 hours, what must happen when a pan of chicken is found below 135 degrees Fahrenheit? A. Reheat the chicken to 165 degrees Fahrenheit and return it to the line. B. Stir the chicken and recheck it in 15 minutes. C. Throw the chicken out, because there is no way to know how long it has been below 135 degrees Fahrenheit. D. Move the chicken to the cooler to stop bacterial growth. The correct answer is C. With checks every 4 hours, food found out of temperature could have been in the danger zone for up to 4 hours, so it must be discarded. Only a shorter checking interval, such as every 2 hours, leaves time for corrective action like reheating. Question 17. During a HACCP-based cooking step, the critical limit is a final internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit for poultry. Which HACCP principle covers checking the temperature with a thermometer on every batch? A. Principle 1. Conduct a hazard analysis. B. Principle 2. Determine critical control points. C. Principle 4. Establish monitoring procedures. D. Principle 7. Record keeping and documentation. The correct answer is C. Measuring the temperature of each batch to confirm the critical limit is met is monitoring, which is HACCP Principle 4. Monitoring is the planned sequence of observations or measurements used to assess whether a critical control point is under control. Question 18. Which task is a core duty of the person in charge, PIC, during operating hours? A. Personally cooking every order. B. Handling all cash transactions. C. Ensuring employees are following food safety practices and excluding ill employees when required. D. Designing the restaurant's advertising. The correct answer is C. The person in charge must actively ensure that employees follow required food safety practices, such as proper hand washing, cooking, and cooling, and must know when to restrict or exclude an ill employee. The PIC's job is oversight of food safety, not doing every task personally. Question 19. A dishwasher mixes a chlorine sanitizing solution for the third sink. What concentration and conditions are correct? A. 500 ppm chlorine at 40 degrees Fahrenheit. B. 10 ppm chlorine at any temperature. C. 200 ppm chlorine at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. D. 50 to 100 ppm chlorine, water 55 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, contact time about 7 seconds. The correct answer is D. A chlorine sanitizing solution should be roughly 50 to 100 ppm with water between 55 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit and at least about 7 seconds of contact time. Too little chlorine will not sanitize, and too much can be unsafe and corrosive. Temperature matters because very cold water slows chlorine's action. Question 20. A manager tests the chlorine sanitizer in the third sink and the test strip reads 200 ppm. What should the manager do? A. Use it as is, more chlorine is always better. B. Add more chlorine to reach 300 ppm. C. Skip testing next time to save strips. D. Dilute the solution to bring it back into the 50 to 100 ppm range before sanitizing. The correct answer is D. At 200 ppm, the chlorine concentration is above the effective 50 to 100 ppm range, which can be corrosive, leave residue, and is not necessary for sanitizing. The manager should add water to dilute it back into range and retest. Those are 20 of the most commonly missed ServSafe questions. This is exactly how you practice on PrepPass.org. Read, guess before the timer, then see why. The full free question bank for your exam is there. Just search PrepPass plus your exam. Good luck on your exam.